what did we discuss in our previous class? There's going to be some thin attendance today because many of them, some of them have gone for Tumut Yatra, some of them have gone to Bhakti Vriksha with Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj. But today we complete the 12th chapter. 8 verses only, so short program. Okay, so what did we discuss in our previous class? This is the most important conclusion of the previous class. We'll just recap that once. So we are studying from Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. Which chapter we are in? So what is chapter 12 titled as? So what is special about chapter 12? It is about devotional service. How many chapters are dealing with the subject matter of devotional service? Which chapter to which chapter? 7 to 12. So the next few sections are going to concentrate more on Jnana from 13th chapter onwards, right? So devotional service is sandwiched in between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So what did we discuss in our previous class? In chapter 12.
The most important verses we discussed were from 12.8 to 12.4. Different progressive stages of devotion. Now Lord Krishna is talking about the pure bhakti in 12.8, but then if you can't perform pure devotional service, then he tells the next different stage.
So who can explain what is written on the board? That pretty much sums up what we discussed last class. Can someone come to the board and explain?
Very good.
Who can come to the board and explain?
He wants to do it from here too.
Huh?
He wants to do it from here.
Why?
I don't know.
Prabhupada went from here to US. Here to US. You would only walk here. Okay, if you are more comfortable from there, no problem.
So the different levels of approaching Lord Krishna. Ideally, if you can remember Lord Krishna always, then that is the topmost level of approaching Krishna. And so here we are saying, like, if you cannot do certain thing, what else you can do? So if you cannot completely remember Krishna always, then engage in devotional service and practice. By that you try to fix mind on directly on Krishna. So now if you are not able to do of fixing the mind on Lord Krishna, work with detachment and offer the results to Krishna. So it becomes Nishkarma Karma Yoga. So still if you cannot do that, you meditate on the Paramatma within and cultivate the knowledge. So by that knowledge you will gradually progress. And even if you cannot even cultivate knowledge, you work with detachment and engage in normal welfare activities, which will not be a direct devotional activity, but still you will develop some selflessness and gradually progress towards the next step. Except for the last step, which is not having direct relationship with devotion, other things are on the path of devotion.
Except for the last step, what happened?
All others are approaching Krishna, or different levels of approaching Lord Krishna.
Anyone want to add?
Anyone, after millions of lives, like you said, on the level of 5, fifth level, still if you do it for millions of lifetimes, still Bhakti is not so easy to attain.
Okay. Anyone wants to add to that?
The first one speaks of Smarana Dasha, spontaneous love for Krishna.
Okay.
The second one speaks of if somebody can't be in that Dasha, then for them the suggestion is to follow regulative principles so
Why?
that they can control their internal senses.
Okay.
The third one says if you still can't control your internal senses, at least use your physical senses.
Very good.
And the last one says, okay, if you can't do anything of that, it does not have any merit in relation to Bhakti and attaining the Lord, but at least it talks about philanthropic activities.
Yes. So what is the difference between the first few approaches and the last approach? Key difference?
The last one is not related to Bhakti. It is
Last
direct
one,
and-
Okay, can you be very specific?
Last one doesn't give you any
It's written on
only
board.
Janma.
It's not directly indirect.
It does not give any transcendental result. Sorry. Janma Koti Shukruti. So that is the main point.
For the last one. We were just listening to lecture. He did mention that actually, even though it is not directly related to Krishna, but when we take it in context, it is still related to Krishna. That's what he mentioned. Chaitanya.
But what do you mean by that? I hear you, but I don't understand.
Even though Krishna, the word Mai, is not used in this particular verse, I think it was to account for. But when we take the whole discussion in context and flow of Bhagavad, it is still related to Krishna.
So even if you do philanthropic activities, it is still related to Krishna.
Not necessarily philanthropic activities, but for example, if a person cannot do any of the above four, and for example, if somebody is preaching or distributing books, the example that he gave was if somebody is distributing books, then that person can just manufacture bags and then give those bags to devotees without doing any of the other.
But that is not the fourth one. That is not the fourth one. That is not the example of mundane cause. Because when you are giving a bag with a Bhagavad Gita book, it's not falling under mundane cause.
Correct.
Maybe I'll have to hear that again. Maybe there's a specific context. But from if it's the way that you are putting it, then that is definitely not that kind.
Yeah.
Because if you are manufacturing bags for Bhagavad Gita, then it's still bigger a transcendental result.
He actually didn't mention that manufacturing bags for Bhagavad Gita. It's just a businessman who manufactures bags.
Correct.
And then incidentally he gives those bags to devotees.
That is different. That is that's exactly what I was. We discussed that briefly last time. So I will probably put that again in context. We have discussed that previously also. So we have to really understand. Shall I erase this now? Everyone knows this now. Expert here in this. This is the most important point. Okay. I cannot stress more than this. Where exam point of view. No pens will come out. There is one care that we have to take in understanding these set of verses. That first Lord talks about pure Smarana Dasa. Right? Which is what? 24 hours. 24 hours. Krishna Consciousness. 24 hours. Automatic meditation. This is what? Automatic meditation on Krishna. This is the stage of Bhava or Prema. Only there it will manifest. Okay. This is not possible for most of us. Therefore, what we are advised to do? We are advised to follow Actually, I shouldn't even say Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. They are advised to follow Sadhana Bhakti.
So the book,
But preferably, yeah, you can say Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti
book,
actually.
the book says Vaidhi Sadhana.
Yeah. Because Raga Nuga can also come under Sadhana Bhakti, technically. So it's Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, where we are advised to follow 64 items of worship. So that our mind can be purified. Right? So, from automatic, it becomes regulated bhakti now. If we can't also do this, we are advised to act on the platform of Nishkama or Sakama. At least act on this platform. Now, then it is mentioned by the Lord, if you can't even do that, then do philanthropic activities. In other words, he uses the word work with detachment, but not offer the fruits to Lord Krishna. Not offer the fruits to Lord Krishna. These are the people who may be atheists or agnostics. They say, I don't care about God, but look, I'm going to participate in the triathlon so that we can generate funds. In my office, one guy is doing that. For what is it? Royal Children's Hospital. He was collecting donations, and everyone was glorifying him.
Isn't that better than Sakama?
Which one?
It's definitely better than Sakama, isn't it? At least here one person is detached, but Sakama you're fulfilling your material desires.
Okay. Which means what we are saying is that it's better that Lord Krishna is not recognized at all, rather than he is recognized with some material purpose. That's what your sentence means. And that is contradictory to the Bhagavad Gita, because the Lord says the people who don't recognize him are called as Dushkritina, whereas the people who recognize him are called as Shukritana. Right? And such people, Shukritana, can also be people who want Artha, Arthati, like that. Okay, so that is all Sakama Bhakti. Moment you say Artha, Arthati, Jigyasu, Jnani, it's all Sakama Bhakti. Right? So therefore, at least you are recognizing Krishna. Here you are not even recognizing Krishna's authority. You are saying, it's like many people say Madhava Seva, Madhava Seva. Actually, that is also in one sense they are recognizing Krishna. Right? that also doesn't come here. But those people who say service to mankind is all in all. Huh? Janardhan also is again coming somewhere. There is some recognition of authority. But here this is just working with detachment. That's all. So somebody may be following a voidistic philosophy. Okay, but still may be working with detachment. So there is no fruits offering to Krishna, because there is no Krishna. Where is the question of fruits offering? If I don't recognize you, why will I offer any fruits to you of my activities? Right? But I will still continue with detachment. Detachment is there. I'll say, okay, I will do all these philanthropic activities. Whatever I earn, I will open an old age home or a charitable or a hospital, and then I'll just do those activities. And there is no, Lord Krishna is not present here, he is completely absent here. That is why it is said, if you work like this, Janma Koti Shukriti na labhyat. You can work for millions of years, nothing will touch you. There is no guarantee that there will be Bhakti. But if in your hospital, which you opened, without acknowledgement of Krishna, I don't recognize Krishna, but I want to open a hospital. But if in your hospital, let's say His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj comes and gets admitted, for example, and gets treated, then what happens? Then this activity doesn't remain here. Then what begins for this person is Shukriti. Shukriti begins for such a person. Okay? And this Shukriti is called as It is called as Agyata Shukriti. Agyata means what? Unknowingly you have served a devotee. Therefore, unknowingly you have pleased. Okay? And because of this, then you get Bhakti Unmukhi. And this Bhakti Unmukhi Shukriti will come from here. Because you have pleased Krishna, Lord will make some arrangement so that you will have contact with devotees. And by your contact with devotees, you will start serving the devotees. Devotees will tell you about Krishna. You will start recognizing Krishna thereafter. And then you will start serving devotees. And by serving devotees, you will develop Bhakti Unmukhi Shukriti. What this category is called as Karmon-mukhi Shukriti. Karmon-mukhi Shukriti. It doesn't beget much. So it's this or this. Or there is one more called as Jnanonmukhi Shukriti, which is called as what? Cultivation of knowledge. This begets or doesn't beget? It does. Because Prabhupada writes here saying that if you can't even do this, then he says develop knowledge and do meditation. Because the moment you say develop Brahma Gyan, you are talking transcendental now. This is not at all transcendental. It doesn't beget any transcendental result. But because Brahman is transcendental, cultivating knowledge about Brahman is also transcendental. Therefore it becomes Jnanonmukhi. Does it make sense? Yeah? And when you start doing that, then what happens? You start understanding the difference between matter and spirit at this level. Where is Nirav Prabhu? Oh, he's gone. You start developing the difference between matter and spirit. Is it clear? Anyone has any doubts here? Yes.
If that is kind of superior and get some transcendental benefit out of this cultivation knowledge, why is there any specific reason that the philanthropic is mentioned before?
Good question. It's exactly where I am coming to. It is confusing, therefore Gurujan Prabhu clarifies. It's confusing because in the sequence of verses, this comes after this. It seems as if this is inferior to this, but no, Gurujan Prabhu clarifies that no, actually Krishna is speaking from here to here. And Prabhupada writes it, but Prabhupada doesn't explain it that way. But Gurujan Prabhu has explained it specifically. Prabhupada, also if you read properly, you will understand that actually it is from here to here that jump is there, not from here to here. Does it make sense? It's like saying, if you cannot do A, do B or do C at least. But C is in which context? If you cannot do A, not if you cannot do B. No, it's in one sense like that. Does that make sense? That is exactly what I wanted to come to, but you preempted that.
So Chaitanya Prabhupada, this 12 words, he explains in 3 different levels. He says he actually dissects the words with the word, and he emphasizes on the word Shreya here. And he says that Shreya Jnana Abhyasa Jnana, the Jnana here, he mentions that it's not related to Jnana Yoga, so to speak. And then the Karma Phalatya is the causality, he very specifically mentions that it's a causality because of the Jnana and Abhyasa. It's the result of Jnana and Abhyasa that we do the Karma Phalatya.
Okay, so what is it?
And because of that, because you are doing the Tyag, then that's why you get Shanti Bachit, that's why you attain peace. Because of that. Okay. But then he explained that it's 3 different levels or stages of it.
You don't explain. I'm still clear what you're trying to say.
I'll discuss it later.
Okay. So Burijan Prabhu clearly writes in his commentary that this is referring to Brahmanyana. We have to understand. Everyone clear on Shukti how it works? That is what you need to know. So let's go to the next verse 13 to 14. So today we will complete the chapter. Text 13, 14. We'll start from there. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Jyoti Mataji, you can read purport.
Coming again to the point of pure devotional service, the Lord is describing the transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee in these two verses. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds, so it is better to suffer than to protest. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14a, it is stated, Tattenu kampam susamikshamanu munjana evatmu kutam vipakam. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is the Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should suffer far, far greater than I am suffering now. So it is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I am not getting all the punishment I am due. I am just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is always calm, quiet and patient, despite many distressful conditions. A devotee is also always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Nirvama means that a devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and trouble pertaining to the body, because he knows perfectly well that he is not the material body. He does not identify with the body, therefore he is freed from the conception of false ego and is equipoised in happiness and distress. He is tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Supreme Lord. He does not endeavour much to achieve something with great difficulty, therefore he is always joyful. He is a completely perfect mystic because he is fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master. And because his senses are controlled, he is determined. He is not swayed by false arguments because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulated principles of devotional service. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with all his activities in full Krishna consciousness.
What are the points?
The devotee is not disturbed in any circumstances, he is equipoised.
So this is a famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a very good idea to know it by heart. So if you can, please memorize this verse. Tattenu kampam Mukti Pade Sadaya. Please by heart this verse. You can. Not only by heart, it's a nice idea to keep remembering this verse at all situations in our life. Anything Anything else?
Qualities of devotees.
So the quality of a Uttama Adhikari. There are three levels of devotees. What are the three levels of devotees?
Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama.
Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari and Uttama Adhikari. What special feature of the Uttama Adhikari is mentioned here?
Free from false ego.
Yes. He is not swayed by false arguments. It's mentioned there. He is not swayed by false arguments. In fact, for that matter, even a Madhyama Adhikari is not swayed by false arguments. The difference is, a Madhyama Adhikari may not be able to counter a false argument. But a Madhyama Adhikari is certainly not swayed by a false argument. But an Uttama Adhikari is not only not swayed, but he can effectively counter a false argument. So that's a very important point which comes here. Also, it is mentioned that a devotee is a dveshta. Dvesh means what? Hatred or envy. Hatred coming from envy. A devotee, or at this level, a devotee is non-envious. A person who is non-envious does not have any enemies. Enemy comes because of envy. Right? It is in our lives. Of course, there is, in anyone's life it comes like that. Usually enmity comes out of envy. Or misunderstandings come out of envy. But it is mentioned here by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan that how a devotee thinks in terms of his enemy. How should we as devotees think when we come across someone who is inimical towards us? How should we think? So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan writes that we must think that such and such person hates me, that is because of my own prarabdha karma. Okay? Prarabdha karma means karma which is matured reaction. It is already fructifying now. It is already manifesting. So, this person hates me, that is because of my own prarabdha karma. And because Lord Krishna is the ultimate controller, this person's hatred must be sanctioned by Lord Krishna. So this person's hatred towards me or inimical attitude towards me is sanctioned by the Lord. So it's okay. So that is how a devotee who is very advanced thinks. Because it is possible that even when we are advanced, okay, then, or rather even when one is advanced, let me put it that way, even when one is advanced, then one could face hostile people. Srila Prabhupada also faced a lot of hostility from so many people. Right? For us, when we are faced like this, then we have to remember the way we have to think is that it is because of our own prarabdha karma. Like that. Now, this helps us, practically, this has helped me in so many ways, especially at workplace. This has helped me. Because we are faced many times with people who will not cooperate with anything, whatever you say. You say one, they will say, no, I don't agree. Like that. So it comes like that. And there are certain people who will not like you. You can see it with the way they deal with you. You know very clearly that this person he just doesn't like me, that's all. And you may extend so many hands of friendship, or you may speak to them politely. You may even bend to their ways. But then you will find that still they will not They will be as they are. So then we have to really, we can't do much. We can't become like them. We should not become like them. So then this principle has really helped. Tattenu kampam vishimikshamana. Okay, fine. Lord, if this person is continuously showing this behavior towards me, it must be having your sanction. It has helped me personally, thinking like this. Yeah, to retain my own sanity, especially at workplace. It has really helped me quite a lot. Always I think like that. So this situation is coming, it has got your sanction. Okay, I will do my best. If you want me to look like a fool, if you are happy, no problem. But if you believe that your devotee should not look like a fool, then you only marry, it's your problem, it's not my problem. And it has helped me tremendously in handling pressure at work. Tremendously it has helped me. Because I have seen that somewhere the Lord doesn't allow you to perish. He never, this is there. You see that something happens and help comes at the right time. Because, I'm talking this because many of you all are working, so I'm saying this. Especially people who are doing, project management or things like that and handling teams, okay. You cannot document everything everyone said comprehensively. Can you do that? Not possible. And we face that problem day in and day out, okay. So something comes in that, no, but you didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, sometimes you have said that in writing, but within the words something is twisted then. No, but I understood it like this, but you never mentioned that way. So if someone wants to escape, there are 50,000 ways that anybody can escape. Saying that, yeah, you have written this, but I have interpreted like this, so there is some ambiguity, because we can make mistakes, we are human beings, right? So anything can be twisted. This is one understanding I've got. We can never be 100% perfect in anything. Even at workplace, something we do can be twisted and turned, in many, many, many ways, like that. So therefore, it is, sometimes you have to raise your hand saying that, look, I can do the best, this is what I can do, but after that, then whatever, the way you want to run my life, you run. Like that. So it has helped tremendously. And sometimes, I have seen many times, even when you are right, you have done the right things, still you are blamed. Has it happened with all of you or no? It's only with me it happened. Everyone is silent, that's why. Even if you do everything properly, still you are not recognized or you are blamed. Like that. Many times people get that feeling. When I do everything right, nobody recognizes. When something goes wrong, then everything ends at my desk. It's like that. So at such times also, this was Tattenu kampam vishimikshamana. Oh Lord, I deserve more than this, but this is a token. So we have to, it helps to see that everything that happens in our life is the design of the Lord. Of course, we can think like that only after we have done our best. It's not that, we goof up everything and then we say, okay, when the slaps come, then we say, oh, it is your design for me. No, it's not like that. So we try to be as much responsible in whatever activities that we do from our side, but then there are things which are beyond our sphere of influence, which we can't do anything about, and that is where it goes to him. Yesterday also, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was saying, endeavor and mercy. Mercy will not come without endeavor. He gave a very beautiful example. If someone, in the university has got, and especially people who have studied in Bombay University will be very well aware of this. What is grace marks? Okay. 80 KT and grace marks. So, if someone writes a paper and he has passed in all subjects, and in one subject he has got 46 out of 100 and 50 is the pass mark, then that person gets grace marks. Not a person who has not attempted that paper at all. Such a person doesn't get grace marks. So, Anirudh Prabhu had asked a question of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj yesterday. Will mercy come? So he said mercy will come, but endeavor has to be there. Mercy doesn't mean mercy without any endeavor. That will not happen. So therefore, wherever we are, even when we are doing services, devotional service or doing our house activities or office activities, wherever, we can only do things within our sphere of influence. After that, things can go out of our hand. Same is true in relationships also. In relationships, because we are not Krishna, We cannot satisfy everyone in this life. Correct? Is there anyone sitting in this room who has satisfied everyone? Husband satisfied, wife satisfied, fully with us, parents satisfied, children satisfied, all relatives satisfied. Nobody can satisfy everyone. Right? So we can only do whatever best to some point, and after that, whatever beatings come, accept it with folded hands, saying that this is ordained for me. Tenu kampam sushimikshama. So I can't do much. Of course, again I am repeating, this doesn't mean, this is not a blank check for escaping responsibility. Responsibility has to be there. Effort to the best extent we can should be also there. This is beyond that, beyond the sphere of influence. Not things which we could have done and which we are not doing because of laziness or carelessness or just indifference. Not like that. So there are a lot of good qualities that the Lord is talking about for pure devotees in this section. In fact, text 13 to 20 describe all the internal symptoms of a person who is engaged in pure bhakti. He for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. So the more and more good qualities are given. So a devotee does not put anyone into difficulty. A devotee is very sensitive to how other devotees have felt at a gross as well as a subtle level. Neophytes are usually insensitive. That's why neophyte means always fight, Prabhupada said. Neophyte devotee is insensitive. But as we progress in devotional life, we have to become extremely sensitive to how someone else, some other devotee has felt about our words, deeds and actions. It is important. That sensitivity we will have to cultivate. We cannot say, chalega, farak nahi padta. Not like. Because a devotee does not put anyone into difficulty. And a devotee is not disturbed by anyone also. Even if someone chastises or behaves indifferently, not as per our expectation, an advanced devotee, a person advanced in his devotional life, does not get too disturbed by that. It will happen many times. For us also, and this one will experience when one has become a preacher. When you are cultivating other devotees, then one will experience this quite a lot. Where you put in so much, but sometimes the members will act in such a way that you're thinking, why are they doing this? Like that. But still you will have to retain gather ourselves and then still be focused and serve them. Continue to serve them. Even though they will be taking services, but sometimes act in a way where, in an ordinary situation, we would blow our head. So, preaching is a very good service which will give us that resilience. Anyone else has that experience? Adharan Prabhu is nodding. Having that experience? Yes. Okay. Who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, such a person is very dear to me. My devotee, who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Striving for material results. Such a person is very dear to the Lord, who is very indifferent to the material world. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me.
The collection of all impossible things. It's a collection of all impossible
things. So Preeti Mataji, can you read this report? 70.
A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gain,
and lost, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Similarly, if he does not get what he desires, he is not distressed. He is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious, and sinful activities. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risk for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna.
So one of the things that is very important for all of us to cultivate is not to lament. Continuous lamentation. Continuous lamentation will kill our devotional mood, devotional service. So that this is a very important quality to pick up. मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ? Why it happened to me like that? Life is not treated me properly. People are not dealing with me properly. Continuously lamenting, thinking about the past all the time. It is said that this is not the symptom of a realized person. And what is Lord saying? A person who does not lament is dear to Lord. Why it is said like that? Because a person who will lament, a person who feels that they don't deserve to be in the situation that they are, correct? Such a person will lament. Now, who puts us in a particular situation? So who are you complaining when you are lamenting? Whose design are you saying, I don't agree with whatever you have designed for me. I don't accept the karmic reactions which you are giving me. Who are we fighting, rebelling against? Krishna. So how we will be dear? So that is why lamentation is bad. So a devotee does not lament. Na sochati na kankshati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. A devotee is equipoised. So whatever comes, accepts it. If it is bad, still smile and say that I deserve worse than this. This is only token reaction. And such a person has got a rightful claim to liberation. Not only accept but continues to do service. As I was mentioning last class, when Gajendra was caught by the crocodile, he was in pain and Lord arrived on the Garuda Viman. But what did Gajendra do? He offered a lotus. So at that time also he was serving the Lord. For a moment he forgot that crocodile. And the Lord came immediately, picked up a lotus and gave. So that is what makes us dayabhak. Jiverayo mukti padesa dayabhak. So when we continue serving the Lord amidst all adversities, then that is very pleasing to the Lord. In fact, in Back to Godhead magazine as well as I got a mail of one very nice devotee in Sholapur. How many of you read that? Anyone read this?
Book distribution.
Yeah, book distribution. An old man from Sholapur. Yeah. How amidst so many adversities in his life, he continued distributing Back to Godhead, taking that service as a very serious service. So many adversities he went through. And it has come in dandavats.com also about this devotee. It was very inspiring to read that. So that is the kind of mood which is Jivera Mukti Pade Sadayava. Continue serving the Lord under any circumstance without lamenting. In fact, in one of the classes, you must have heard that during that Nepal disaster, when so many devotees lost their lives, I think Govind Prabhu was mentioning that in someone's house, one of the devotees' house, who was a deity worship, deity dressing expert, Madan Mohan Prabhu, correct? Murli Manohar Prabhu. So Murli Manohar Prabhu left his body in that air crash, and his brother also. And so the parents lost both the children. But when the devotees went to their house, they were.
Prabhu was telling that they welcome as if the both sons would have welcomed them.
Yeah, the way they welcomed in the same way that both sons. Just imagine, a mother has lost both the children in the aircraft crash, and then devotees are coming. Normally, what will be the situation? Oh, there is no Bhagavan. Kahan gaya tera Bhagavan? Kya kiya Krishna ne? That is a normal reaction, but that was not the reaction. They were received, and the whole focus, they started serving the devotees actually. How devotees can be served. What kind of a mood is this? Now, actually, I couldn't even imagine. I can't imagine being in that situation and being like that. These are real examples in our own daily lives. We can learn so much from these devotees. Tattenukampam Shrimikshama. A devotee neither rejoices nor grieves, neither laments nor desires. Such a person becomes very dear to the Lord. What can be a bigger, I don't think anybody in this room has a bigger problem than the problem of those parents who have lost both their children. That too, they were very, very good devotees. One who is equal to friends and enemies, one who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. So, these all are symptoms of the platform of Nishtha. It all begins with Nishtha. Nishtha means you are consistent and predictable in your devotional service. Your devotional practices do not change with your external circumstance. Most of us are on the platform of Anartha Nivritti. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav and Prem. These are the levels of Bhakti. Most devotees spend lifetime in Anartha Nivritti. But these are all symptoms of Nishtha onwards. Nishtha means consistent. Even if I am not well, no excuse for chanting exchange rounds. It's very difficult to do that. But there are devotees who are doing them. For me, personally, I am very sensitive to the time I go to bed. If I don't go to bed on time or if I have some health problem, then it's very difficult for me to still do something consistently. But there are devotees who will go to bed at any time and then still follow those practices. I remember there was one brahmachari, Gaur Gopal Prabhu. I was told by someone that he was given the task of preaching to the wealthy people in Bombay, the affluent aspirants, seekers of Krishna Consciousness, which means that they are only available at late hours. But still he will go there, he will do and it seems that the Bhaktivedanta program will start at some 11 o'clock or something in the day. That's what I was told. So it will all start these are the times, because they are available only then, because they are top people, busy during the day. But then regardless of all those programs, still he will be present for Mangalarati. Like that. So, and someone was telling me, this is the platform of Nishtha. Nothing affects you. 4 o'clock, getting up and doing the chanting means doing that. This is an inspiration for all of us. A devotee is equipoised in honor and dishonor. This verse says. It is not that I will remain a devotee as long as everyone treats me nicely. सब लोग मीठा मीठा बात ही करना चाहिए, अच्छा अच्छा ही रहना चाहिए सब. कभी कोई न डांटे. Let nobody yell at me for anything. Nobody should correct me. All the time everything nice, like that. The moment someone points out my mistakes or tries to correct me, then I am offended by that. That is not a very good quality which is appreciated by the Lord. Equal to friends and enemies, equipoised in honor and dishonor. Fame and infamy. Devotees can get famous as well as infamous. Both can happen. Right? One day we are on top, another day we are down. So that is possible. Some people will always think that we are an inspiration to them, and other people cannot tolerate our face. That is possible. Right? So we have to take it in our stride. Right? We have to take it in our stride. Somebody will praise, somebody will criticize. That is also there. So devotee has to accept both.
So that also we should see as karma. Means, we are getting these like the instrument of our karma.
Yeah, but sometimes, it's a good point. sometimes seeing everything as the will of the Lord is testing us, can also be a statement coming from false ego. It's not necessarily will come from humility. I'll tell you an example. Let's say I am me and there is Mr. X. I didn't do some service properly. Okay. For example, I am sleeping and I have missed Mangala Arati. I have been given a service by the temple. I have slept through that because of laziness. No, somebody will do. And 2 days 2 weeks I have missed Mangala Arati. And then the pujari comes and tells, Hare Bol, Prabhu, what's going on? Aapko service diya gaya hai. That's not the way you do it. Okay? And then we think, and then that Prabhuji is very heavy. Let's say. It's not happened in real life. I'm just telling you an example. So far it does not happen. But suppose someone is chastising us. But then the devotee starts thinking, no, he need not be so heavy on me for this. But anyway, I think Krishna is trying to test me. How humble I am in this situation, though he is a rascal. You understand, no? So it must be Krishna's interference in my life. No, it's not Krishna's interference. It is sheer laziness on our part, and we deserve a kick, for that. So mind can give various interpretations, because unfortunately one aspect of a devotee is that devotees are too knowledgeable. So everything they try to manipulate, so that they can absolve themselves of any responsibility. And therefore, we can call those things which are within our sphere of influence as if they are outside our sphere of influence, and therefore we are accepting as a desire of the Lord. And no. Not like that. So one has to be very honest with one's own self inside. We can cheat outside world. Everybody will think we are advanced devotee. But internally we have to really know what we are. Otherwise we can keep on giving excuses outside and do so many things. Internally we know where we are. That's very important. Then we will know whether Lord is interfering or whether karma is giving us something like that. Actually, Lord interfering, Lord says, ye yathamam prapadyante. The Lord interferes in everything that we do at a pretty advanced stage of devotional life. In fact, Prabhupada says, the Lord at that time, the Lord, your free will is also not there, because you surrendered your free will also to Him. That is a very advanced stage. But most of the occasions that we get, problems in life, we can say it is because of our karma. And a devotee usually always thinks that whatever bad happens in his life is because of his karma, and whatever good happens is because of the Lord's mercy. That is a safe position to be in always. That is a mercy which was never deserved. Like that. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor. Did you read this or no? Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. This is a very nice purport, so we will read this. Who will read? Sumedha Vasudha Mother, you want to read?
In this chapter, from verses 2 to the end, now the Supreme Lord has explained the process of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal harmony, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was raised by Arjuna, and the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter it is decided that through good association one develops attachment for pure devotional service, and thereby accept a bona fide spiritual master from him, begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of God. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, one works without fruitive desire, meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service as described in the middle 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord everything is carried out automatically.
Okay. So this sums up the entire thing in one sense. So what are the points here?
Only call for self-realization as the devotional service to be personal form.
It is the only absolute.
Only absolute.
So towards the end of this chapter, Krishna replied to me explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality is present.
Also, the Lord says that this will only go when one associates with a pure devotee.
So all these qualities which we see, peacefulness, austerity, so many qualities have been shown. Equanimity, these can be even found in impersonalists. Right? So the key point is that if these qualities are acquired through the process of devotion, then that is meritorious. That is really good for the devotee. And these qualities will automatically come as a result of devotion. That is the good part. So there are a lot of qualities which are mentioned. All these qualities are in which mode? In the mode of goodness. So on one hand is all the qualities which are in the mode of goodness. Now these qualities in itself, without Krishna consciousness, are no good. Right? And to cultivate these qualities without Krishna consciousness is very difficult also. These qualities without Krishna consciousness is no good. And cultivating these is very painful without Krishna consciousness. But with Krishna consciousness, right, these qualities no longer remain in mode of goodness but become mode of transcendental goodness, Shuddha Sattva. Not only that, but because one is in devotional service, these qualities will come automatically to a person who is practicing sincere devotional service to Lord Krishna. That is why it is mentioned that the second characteristic of pure bhakti is what? First is Kleshagni, second is Shubhada. Shubhada means what? All auspicious qualities dawn upon a devotee of Lord Krishna. Yes. And if these good qualities are even present in non-devotees, it's of no use. Yasyasti bhakti Bhagavad Akinchana Sarvayar Gunayar Tatra Samadate Sura. Which means if anyone is a devotee, all these qualities will automatically dawn in. Haro Abhakta Uto Mahatguna. Manorathena sati davatabai. So people who are envious of the Lord, who are not devotees, you will not find that they are generally having these qualities. But the Mayavadis or the impersonalists may still have these qualities because they are also transcendentalists at the end of the day. Somebody may be a Brahmavadi also. He may have developed these qualities. But it will take a lot of time. But again, those qualities without Krishna Bhakti is useless. Decorations on a dead body, almost like that. Useless. So, Gurujan Prabhu writes that these characteristics, these qualities which we have been mentioning, that arise in one from devotion and from peacefulness are not material qualities. Qualities which arise from devotion are not material qualities. And he writes that this is in accordance with the statement that Lord Krishna is satisfied only by devotion, never by material qualities. So these qualities, in one sense, we can say, are not cultivated but are awarded to us. These qualities are awarded to us as a result of devotional service. So all a devotee does is chant the 16 rounds, follow the regulative principles and do Navavida Bhakti. And a devotee will automatically start developing these qualities. To the extent we are sincerely chanting, to the extent these qualities will come faster. Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj was saying yesterday in the Mill Park Bhakti Vriksha program that there are 3 things we must remember in chanting. First is pronunciation of the holy name, Ucharan. It's called as proper Ucharan of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Second is hearing whatever we are. We can do proper Ucharan but not hear. Correct? So hearing properly. And the third is chanting with feeling. Okay? We can still chant pakka like a jnani, pure. Everything is pure. Hare Krishna, like that. Pakka ekdam, proper. And then we can also hear, but there is no feeling for the Lord. So all these 3 things are required. So if these 3 things if we do, then one will find that one is awarded with these qualities faster than those who do not do these things. This kind of a chanting. Then it will come very fast if we practice this kind of chanting. So most of our problems in life is because of what? Not doing these 3 things. If these 3 things are set right, 99% of our problems will be over. Our dilemmas, everything will be over. But still,
so Prabhu, do you chant Hare Krishna or Hare Krishna?
Both are okay.
Prabhu,
both are.
How can we chant with feeling? How can we elaborate or quantify or I understand that cannot be a quantifiable stuff, but still practically, in day-to-day life, when you chant, right?
Yeah. So I'm not qualified to answer that because my chanting is far away from these standards. But still, I can answer you based upon what I have heard. Okay, we can chant with feeling by hearing about the Lord. So good quality hearing will result in good quality chanting. I know that whenever my hearing, and my hearing in between it had picked up, again it has gone down. Whenever my hearing goes down, I just try to finish my round somehow. You don't get the motivation to chant. You are very relieved at the end of your round. Like that. Okay. But when the hearing is solid, and especially when you have heard something which struck you so much, then you are very motivated. Like that. Now, Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj is here. It's a highly, I don't know how to put it in words, but he inspires no end, right? We have heard the classes which he is giving. He inspires, at least personally for me, he inspires me no end. I cannot even describe it. It's so inspiring to hear his classes, to just be with him, to hear him talk. And even my mother was telling me the other day. So when continuously we are in the association of such devotees, hearing from them, then we will automatically see that we are chanting with feeling after that. So sometimes the enthusiasm and the purity of one devotee will have its, purity is also contagious in that sense. Even if we don't want it, we will be awarded with it. simply because they are sitting in that room and associating with that person. So good quality, top quality association and hearing will definitely lead to chanting with feeling. We cannot have feeling if we don't know about the personality enough, or we are not thinking of that personality enough. Then we are only finishing some rounds. We are Krishna compliant, but we are not Krishna conscious. We are compliant. 16 round higher, 4 regulatory principle less. Compliance is taken care of, but feeling is not there, right? And thankfully, during our initiation ceremony, we are not told. We will follow 4 regulatory principles and chant 16 rounds attentively. What if we have taken that oath? Most of us will not dare to get initiation, right? But yeah, acharyas are merciful on us. But then we will not be able to get that feeling till we come to that stage of attentive chanting. And I'm again saying I'm not qualified to speak on this topic because I am also struggling in that same aspect. So we need each other to lift our game. This book.
Remember one point Jagatari Mataji made. Somebody had asked about chanting. He said that while chanting you can be in a prayerful mood. Like while chanting you can think that okay, I am not qualified, please give me the mercy while chanting. And then if you have in this thing that okay, I am very unqualified, but somehow you beg while chanting, and if you are in the prayerful mood, she had mentioned that.
That is correct, but Jagan Prabhu's question is we are not begging now. There is no desire.
There is no desire, practically we are not able to. So
we are not even begging. We are not begging for anything. We are just chanting, that's all. Correct? We are not begging, we are chanting. Correct? We are not saying, Hare Krishna, please give me the mercy. No, it's not. It's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And the speed also varies based on the class. What is the next activity that has to be done? Yeah, it varies. Every time, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's like that. This is compliance activity, right? So, Kesha Prabhu told something. He said, he reads Bhagavatam and then he chants. So that helps. That helps. Nothing like Bhagavatam to bring one to the mood of, what is the chanting? Feeling. Chanting with feeling. So Bhagavatam certainly helps. Just open any one page and then read from Bhagavatam and then chant. Then after some time stop, again read and then chant. That helps. I have tried that and it helps. It's just that I don't do it. But it works. Whenever I have done it, it works. So I'll sum up this point for today. So Gurujan Prabhu writes that these characteristics that arise in one from devotion are not material qualities. And the word but here indicates that this is the introduction of a new idea. There is a word tu, which means but here. Why it is said like that is because devotees who have been described up to this point, up to the 20th verse, have each of them perfectly cultivated one aspect of their personalities. Devotees described up unto this point have each perfectly cultivated one aspect of their personalities. Those mentioned in this verse, however, are desires of perfecting all these qualities. Therefore, even during the stage of sadhana, they are superior to those on other paths, even if those individuals who have achieved the perfected stage of their paths. For this reason, the word Ata Eva is used in this verse. I know it didn't make any sense what I read, so let me explain. Okay. So it simply means that, again, as I said, having these qualities independent of Krishna consciousness is not of much use. Okay. But a person who is in Krishna consciousness, though he might not have developed the same quality, though he may not have developed these qualities in the same measure as someone who is a non-devotee, who has that quality, still the devotee who is in sadhana, who is struggling, is still greater than that devotee. Does it make sense? Yes. Which means if a non-devotee is 90% goodness and a devotee is 50% goodness, still the devotee's 50% goodness is better. Because that person, mano rathena dhavato bari. Which means what? Today he is in the mode of goodness and in this situation. Tomorrow you never know because he doesn't have the hand of Krishna. He is driven by the chariot of his mind and the modes of material nature. So there is no guarantee. Whereas here it is Krishna's end. It is awarded to you by Krishna. So he is taking care. It is more shashvat, more permanent. Like these qualities. So that is the summum bonum of verse number 20. Not only of that, but of all the verses that we discussed. This is the key point. So we should remember this also. Srila Prabhupada ki